Blake Hudson, my guy, how we doing?
I'm doing great, man. I'm realizing though I need some entrance montage music going on, just like when I walk into the day. Need that
Look,
in my life, that kind of energy.
I think if we all started our day with with just a huge entrance video, we would feel very pumped up for what we're
Yeah.
about to accomplish in the day. I think that is very true. Talk to me, man. How has it been? You run the SDR team over at Tapcart, right? Tell the good people of LinkedIn, and we're live on Twitter, we're live on YouTube, we're live on LinkedIn. Tell everybody who Blake Hudson is.
Yeah, well, I mean, very simply, Blake Hudson is SDR manager at Tapcart. Man, many talents, but today the talent is going to be cold calling, or at least attempting a cold call. I'm gonna dare violently as I make these cold calls. We'll see what they do on the other end. I have a great SDR team, soon to be 14. Just had our 12th and 13th join yesterday. Love them to death. They're great. They're getting better every day. We've got a mindset on our team. I think, Kevin, we spoke about this on your podcast. SDRs are sometimes they can be looked at as the bottom of the totem pole. They can be looked at as like the also rans, the leftovers of the sales org. Well, we just decided to lean into that, right? We'll be sales rookies, but rookies win championships too. And so we wear that as a badge of honor. We're proud of the fact that we're learning, growing, getting better every day. And at the end of the year, we're gonna be raising a ship. So that's who we are and what we're about. And a few of them might join to come tease me, ridicule.
Ooh, we got shout outs here.
But yeah, shout out. Let me go through it. I should be able to rattle these off. So Sojin, Hannah, Layla, Brett, Yoshi, Micaiah, Ian, Olivia, Courtney, Ben, Caden, Bakar, Nate.
Wow.
That's everybody.
That's a crew, man. That's a crew. That's incredible. Love that. Love that you have a.
I am forgetting somebody. I owe you one big time, but I think that's everybody.
Look, well, they can show up and shout out in the comments. We're happy to do that. The best types of leaders lead from the front. So this is a great example for everybody out there. The fact that you're going to hop on here and make some calls on Hop On Calls. Let's take a second to talk about our sponsor. Sponsor for today is Kixie, your all-in-one B2B telephony solution. But in particular today, I am going to be using Kixie's power dialing feature, where we're going to call multiple lines at once. We're going to have a lot of conversations. Kixie has a lot of built-in features that allow us to get into a lot of conversations in a short period of time. Really excited about that. Big shout out to our sponsor, Kixie. We're going to drop a link in here for you guys to try it for free and have access special pricing as a thank you for tuning into the show today. So check that out. And with no further ado, I'm going to go ahead and press go. So for the audience, as a refresh, I go back and forth on who I'm calling and what I'm calling about. So this week, I'm going to stick with what worked last week, which is actually to call for one of my clients called Uncommon Giving. So Uncommon Giving is a client of mine. I'm helping them doing with outbound sales, structure, process, structure, strategy, and things. But we're going to be calling HR leaders, people leaders, talking about that. Blake, who are you calling today?
I am going to be calling e-commerce owners, founders, chief executives of marketing, VPs of e-commerce, and all things mobile for some of your favorite Shopify brands. So the new eras of the world, the Fashion Novas, the Culture Kings, 100 Thieves, but not them because those are already customers of ours. But or at least
there we go.
I might have spilled some beans there.
So you and I are both doing difficult things, which is you're calling e-commerce in Q4, and I'm calling people leaders in Q4. Have you seen, by the way, the dialer's running for me. Have you seen a difference in the seasons as you go along? Q1, 2, 3, 4. Is there a sweet spot for you and your team when it comes to going outbound for outbound outreach?
Of course. I mean, seasonality, like on one hand, it's a mindset. And as a seller, there's things that you can do to set up your day and your months and your quarters to mitigate some of the felt effects of seasonality. But at the same time, there's just things that happen. Like Thanksgiving is going to happen third Thursday of this month, no matter what. And that's going to impact the days around it, how people respond to messages, when they can meet. So that's definitely a part of it. But like we were just talking about an hour ago, I was leading a training on storytelling. It's all about the context you build around it. So for example, we'll get into this if someone picks up the phone today for me. The urgency, right, is something that I have to create. So if I call someone and they're like, we're just, this is a busy time for us. Got a lot of, foot traffic coming into the website. Like we really want to focus on our ads. That's great. That all sounds fantastic. You're getting more traffic than you know what to do with. What are you going to do with them in Q1 and beyond? How are you going to retain them? That's a problem that you have to start solving now. So we'll see how that works, or if I get that far. But that's how I like the team to approach seasonality. It's like build better context around the seasonality. Don't just let it stand on its own.
I am a big fan of the idea of storytelling. And that's what's a little bit different about the way that I teach cold calling is I don't teach cold calling as I'm going to show up and I'm going to ask you if you're ready to buy. I'm going to show up and have a conversation with you. And this conversation is going to go left, right, sideways, up, and down. But the approach is all about teaching SDRs to be little business managers, little business people, right? And this is something that I learned as I went along in my sales career, that the more business savvy I was, the more savvy I was around understanding business problems, the better I got at having these conversations, cold conversations, right? So huge fan of having conversations, and I am trying to get a live.
By the way, we're both ringing, so like if at any given point,
throw up start talking, just jump in. Don't feel like you're interrupting me at all.
For those wondering, because I was wondering about this too, you mentioned this already. You're not going to hear the person on the other end, not today, not this time, but we're going to send recordings in and play that back in the podcast. That's an incentive to follow up with you, Kevin, to check in and subscribe, like and subscribe.
That's right. Everybody check out the podcast. The podcast is where you can hear both sides of the audio. I'll drop a little link in there for you.
No voicemails, right?
Voicemail. Probably not. Let's not leave voicemails today. Let's leave the emphasis on the live conversation. But let's talk about voicemails for a second. Do you leave voicemails? Do you teach your team to leave voicemails?
All depends. Depends where you are.
Hey, Karen, this is Kevin with Uncommon. How you doing today? Hey, Karen, this is Kevin. I'm calling with Uncommon. Did I catch you at the second to have a conversation? Oh, man, that was a gatekeeper, which does happen. Okay. Back in the queue. Shout out EP. Thanks for showing up. Appreciate you. Dude, how about Jeff, co-founder of Kixie, showing up? Hey, good to see you. Gotta love it. So back to my point on voicemails while I'm trying to get back in the queue here. So you do teach your team to leave voicemails when they call on cold calls?
Not every time, but yeah, some of the time, at least once in the sequence. I think it's another touch point.
Hey, is this Kevin with Uncommon? Is this Shannon? Ooh, I'm getting past to Shannon. Let's go. Come on. Come on. Shannon's phone is ringing. And voicemail. That kills you. Dang it. Okay. So what's interesting about voicemails is you got a live one, Blake? You got one? No. So the thing that I found with voicemails is very rarely will someone call back a salesperson that cold called them from a voicemail but I've seen it work really well as a touch point to point to other areas you're reaching out, right? So it's an opportunity to get that brand impression, to hear the words Kevin, uncommon giving, right? Like hear the client, hear what's going on, which makes the next touch that much more familiar. I don't know. Is that kind of like the way you teach it as well?
I think when you have the opportunity to refer back to a previous interaction in a cold call, it's immediately warmer than it was. So even as something as simple as, hey, I think we connected on LinkedIn, but we haven't had the privilege of talking yet. So I was wondering if I could run
Kevin with Uncommon. How you doing today? Yeah, I was looking for Ryan. Is this Ryan? Ryan's going to be available. I just know it. Come on. Come on. Come on, Ryan. A lot of easy gatekeepers this morning. I think this is the third time that all I have to do is ask for the target, and they're like, sure. The phone's ringing in my ear right now. Come on. Oh, voicemail. Killing me. Okay, so you were mentioning one of the things you like to do is point back to other conversations you might have had. But what if you like don't connect with them and you just leave them a voicemail? Are you still pointing back to that?
Absolutely.
Right.
It's the difference from how are you and how you been. Mo for 5.
Hey, this is Kevin. Hey, I was looking for Alan. Hey, Alan, how you doing? My name's Kevin. I'm actually calling out of the blue here. I'm with a company called Uncommon Giving. Did I catch you at the second to have a conversation? Awesome. So the reason I was reaching out to you, Alan, I work with people leaders just like yourself to help them really transform the way they retain talent and engage their employees by offering unique employee benefits. So I guess one of the questions I had for you, when it comes to corporate social responsibility and charitable giving, do you guys have a structured program in place for that today? You don't. Okay, that's surprising. Some of our best customers didn't have a structured program, but they did something seasonally. It was a here and now and very infrequent thing. Do you guys do any sort of giving throughout the year? Okay. Right on. That makes a lot of sense. Well, Alan, I guess part of the reason I was reaching out, I've been having high-level discussions with folks like yourself that are involved in human resources strategy and employee recognition and engagement around thinking about ways to build better giving programs in 2023. Would you be open-minded to an introductory conversation sometime next week? Okay. So the giving thing would not be anything that would be on the calendar for 23 for you guys. Okay. Right on. A little bit unusual to hear that. Most of the time when I hear that folks are not focused on giving. What was that? Okay, I totally understand. Would it be fair if I followed up with you in a few months? You mentioned it sounds like there's a lot larger list of priorities that your CEO is dealing with, and after already trying to present something like this wouldn't be a good idea to do now. I'll follow up with you in the new year if you don't mind, Alan. Okay, cool. I'll do that. Cheers. Have a great rest of your day. Dang. Okay. Cool. That was a really good conversation. So my guy Alan is in HR strategy, which is a really cool title if you're trying to like have conversations with HR people, because he's all about this. So what he said that was really interesting just now is he said, when it comes to charitable giving, which is what I was calling about, the topic I was calling about, I've already presented 2 things to the CEO this year. Didn't take it, didn't want to talk about it. I know for a fact that if we have a conversation that it's not going anywhere. So knowing what I know about trying to build, real pipeline and get conversations going that are going to be fruitful in the next 6 months, like that's the goal for Uncommon Giving. I don't want to book that meeting right now. So I bowed out of that one. I'm not going to push hard. I'm not going to say, hey, but just give me 15 minutes. I'd love to show you. I'm not going that direction. Instead, I'm just going to bow out and say, all right, Jeff or Alan, now is not the time. Now is not the time. So we got that for us.
True. And now is not a never. So that's important to keep in mind as well.
That's right. That's right. No, he's a follow-up.
This one you use a seller to follow up. To follow up with them.
I'm taking this note in Kixie, which will be automatically logged to my CRM. You're calling, right?
Yep. Not as fast as you, though. This is probably a perfect opportunity to talk about the magic of Kixie.
That's right. That's right. Blake wanted to use
I'm using, for those that don't, I'm using Outreach, and I am dialing one name at a time. Kevin apparently has got a whole suite of callers on the back end, and I don't know how many calls have you gotten in so far.
I've made 14, 15 calls already. I've had a few of those that got connected to gatekeepers like right away. So, but it's just technology, right? So Outreach and Kixie are not competitive. Fun fact, Outreach is not like a dialing solution. It does click to call, but Kixie is a dialing solution. So it is designed to get you into as many conversations as humanly possible. A lot of organizations have both, right? Hey, this is Kevin. I was looking for Juliana. Yeah, my name's Kevin. I'm actually with I'm with a company called Uncommon Giving. Did I catch you at the second to have a quick conversation? Oh, fantastic. Well, Juliana, I'm gonna let you go. Have a good rest of your day. Are we sitting by the pool? Are we doing margaritas, or what's on tap today? Just relaxing. All right, Juliana, do you mind if I give you a call back later this week? Okay. Is that first dot last name at tcgplayer.com? Perfect. Glad I asked. All right, Juliana, I'll shoot you a little note via email. We'll see if we can connect probably next week because I know you're going to be on a plane tomorrow. But have a great rest of your week and a great day off. Cheers. Okay, so Juliana said, which is interesting, right? And Blake, tell me if you don't run into this too, right? She said, I only picked up your call because I thought you were my doctor. And I'm off. I'm on PTO today.
I don't usually get doctor. I usually get like my ex or like my PO, all sorts of crazy stuff. No, I never get doctor. I'm never happy to take my call.
Yeah. I mean, that was interesting. She said, I only picked up because I thought you were my doctor. I'm on my day off. I'm relaxing. I threw out the cabana and margarita comment on purpose because it got her chuckling, right? One of the things that I'm really fanatical about when it comes to outbound and cold calling is try to be a real person, right? The best cold callers in the world are two things. They're interesting people who are genuinely interested in the people that they're calling. So I'm trying to be a weird call. I'm trying to stick out. I want next time I call for her to say, oh yeah, you're the guy who asked me if I was drinking a margarita at 12 o'clock on a Wednesday. And she's going to say, oh, I remember you. Okay. You're a real person. You're not some telemarketer. You're not some spammer. Let's have a conversation. Right. By the way, I double checked on her email address. I had it wrong in my system. I'm updating that and sending her a warm up email here. So she's going to have that brand impression, have a minute to go to my website, check it out. A very positive interaction.
And that's really what you're actually hoping for with a cold call. It's a positive interaction. You get some information from them. I mean, like a meeting obviously is great, right? That's like the gold standard if you're an SDR. But if you can learn something more about their business, maybe they're putting their kid down and they only have 30 seconds, a minute, right? What do you get out of that experience? And so that's not only the information they give you about the business, but that's also a callback. Hopefully I'm calling you with a less sticky situation on your hands. Less callback, right? Now you're not just a stranger. You're someone that like lived through a moment with me.
That's right. Trying to make sure I'm in the queue. Are you dialing here? How many dials deep are you?
Yep. Like 20.
To Jeff's point here, it's important to note that Kixie does more than just calling. It also does texting, which can be really good if you use it in an omni-channel outreach cadence. Let's talk about that for a second. I know TapCard is actually a texting-based solution, right?
No.
Part of what you guys do texting?
Some of our competitors are texting-based solutions. We're a mobile app developer, so
okay.
I wouldn't say we rival SMS because you can use them both in unison, but we're building the app, and we would rival the text message with a push notification to someone who's downloaded the app.
Right. No, it makes a lot of sense. I guess the reason I ask is, have you ever used texting in B2B outbound?
Sure. Hi, this is Stephanie. For sure. My name is Blake Hudson. I'm calling you from TapCard. I know this is a little bit out of the blue, but do you have a moment to listen to why I called today? Okay. For sure. This is the number that they gave me, though, so apologies there. Would there be a better number to call you back on? The only number. Got it. Okay, well, you have a great day, Stephanie. Thank you. So we definitely are getting the how'd you get my cell phone number situation. And it's like, I really struggle because there's a part of me that's like, the internet? Like, the internet. So you're not Warren Buffett. Like, you're out here. You're really out here on this internet.
Right. It's not like your phone number is like super hard to get. The year is 2023, basically, right? Come on, we're basically living in the future, 2023. You did something subtle there, which is a technique I have taught SDRs before. There's two things that I like to say when people say, how'd you get my number? The first is the tone needs to change. My tone goes, I found it in a publicly accessible database. And if you act surprised to their objection, then immediately it kind of mellows out the tone, right? I don't like to meet fire with fire there and be like, I found it in my Zoom info database. I just say I found it in a publicly accessible database. I'm sorry about that. And then you said what I always teach, which is there a better number to reach you? Because there's a little bit of logic in that. And the human brain actually loves logic. And saying things that are not logical is difficult for people. So they'll say, no, this is my number. And then
I tripled down.
What's that?
I tripled down on that. I was like, so this is the only number for you.
Yeah.
Only way you can be reached. Okay. Yeah. No, I'm looking at another corporate number for you, but we don't talk about that.
Yeah. So big fan of that. The other thing that you did there, which is another technique I have taught, is you mentioned this is the number they gave me, right? It's the idea of taking, okay, I'm really upset about this. And you just simply take what they're upset about and you push it somewhere else. You say, well, I'm not the one
about it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had no idea this was your cell phone number. Somebody gave me this number to call for you, not me, right? So I'm not the one that you should be upset about here. And for that reason, let's get to the point of what I was calling about,
For sure.
Let's have a conversation. Sure. Let's jump into it. Why not?
Let's see. I'm on the board though. That's what's important here. As someone picked up the phone, it was like they heard I was going to be on LinkedIn Live. They're like, "Don't pick up the phone. Blake's calling today."
Love that. Shout out to Aubrey. Thanks for joining in.
I'm ringing. Don't worry.
I am ringing too. One of the things that I think is important is these shows have a bit of silence in them because we are actually cold calling people.
Literally calling people on the phone. I was thinking about the visual optics of the show. I have to work on that. My contact's lacking. I'm sorry. It's not you. It's me. It's actually the people I'm calling, but
it's all good. It's all good. But it's, you know, so there have been other cold calling competitions on LinkedIn and things like that. And you could just call your follow-up list. You know, if you call your follow-up list, you know the number connects. You've already had a conversation with them. That's different. This is actual live cold calls. This is the bleeding edge of sales. This is the hardest thing to do. This is the thing that everyone likes to talk about, but very, very few people will do what you're doing today, Blake, which is put it on the line. And
if there's anything people know about me, I have no problem embarrassing myself in public forums. Like I ran for state senate when I was 24 because I'm just weird like that. So
you ran for state senate?
Yeah, it was a long story. We'll have to save that for another session. But yeah, it's a lot harder than this. At least with this, I have like a thing to sell to you.
Yeah,
an actual solution. In politics, I just had problems. I'm just selling problems.
Man, and there are a lot of problems.
You get a problem. Everybody gets a problem.
Man, we missed it by a day. We could have done our live yesterday on election day. We could have been urging people to go vote. But I hope everybody voted out there in the midterms. And I don't care who you voted for. I just think it's important to vote. That's all I'm going to say about politics. Come on. I'm hitting a lot of voicemails here. Let's go. I'm trying to get back into the conversation. So let's talk a little bit about something that a lot of outbound teams are probably thinking about, which is we're coming into like the hardest time of the year to think like from a high level standpoint, the week of Thanksgiving and the week right before Christmas, the week after Christmas. I have always struggled in my career with being productive during those weeks because I'm used to calling and your connection rate's gonna go down. Right? These are some of, if people are taking vacation in a year, they're going to take a vacation day or 2 or 3 or maybe even an entire week right around now. So talk to me about like, do you have a bit of a different strategy coming into the end of Q4? Like, do you think about the holiday season differently?
I mean, that's only going to manifest itself on a very specific part of the call is when I'm going to set the meeting. I mean, the calendar date shouldn't really dictate like your opener, the value prop that you're putting forth. You can reference it. It can certainly be a point of like connection, humanity, right? Like if we both know it's a certain day. But yeah, otherwise I'm going to try and set that business case in front of them. I'm going to try and make sure that there's some level of urgency there and understand what their availability looks like. If I need to try and like push them in, I'll use a line like this. I'm hoping to get to use it later, but like, I'll just save it. I'll save it. Like we'll talk about how do you reframe the meeting and the value of it. So, for instance, I'll say, here's the truth. 15 minutes is 1% of your day. So here's what I like to do. I like to set aside 1% of your day for us. I promise you it'll be worth your while. Worst case scenario, you walk away with some best practices on all things e-commerce in the mobile space. Best case scenario, we talk about how we can build you an app in 21 days or less. But you decide. You're free tomorrow.
1%. I like that idea. You're asking for 1% of their day.
You got 1%. You got 1%. If you don't have 1%, then I've identified a problem within the business. You don't have time.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. 1% of your day doesn't seem like a big ask, does it?
Sometimes I'll get real frisky and I'll ask for 2%. I'm like, can you spare me 2%, please?
How about 2%? How about 3%?
I'll cut you down to 1%. I'll cut a deal with 1%. They can't say no to that. Who's gonna say no to that?
Love it. I like that a lot. So talk to me about this. Is your team setting 15-minute meetings, or do you do what I've done a lot in the past, which is say 15 minutes and book 30?
I've never given them any sort of like set it for this amount of time. And I certainly don't want them to feel like they're in a position where they're setting false expectations, because one of the things we really pride ourselves on at Tapcart is being a great partner to these brands. You know, we're a startup. A lot of them are emerging e-commerce brands. And it's something as small as like this 15-minute convo is turning into a 45-minute commercial, and it sucks. Why are you guys doing this to me? Like, we don't want that as a, early impression. We want to send them a receipt to a donation to their favorite charity and say, this is our way of showing good faith, being a good partner with you. Every dollar they earn on our apps is obviously a dollar in their success story, right? But if we don't set them up for success from the beginning, we're doing ourselves a disservice.
That's right. Okay. Interesting. I just mean like, I guess my question is more pointed. So when you have them on the phone and you're closing for the meeting on a cold call, you book a 30-minute? Oh, hey, Andrew, this is Kevin. I was actually looking for Brenna. Yeah, Brenna. She's in the HR department. This is Dunn Lumber. Thank you. Come on. Pick up the phone. And it went to voicemail. Bummer. Wow. So I've hit like what 3 or 4 different gatekeepers, and gatekeeper is a strong word. They're more like a swinging gate.
Yeah, let's talk about gatekeepers for a sec. Like, what do you find to be the common response for how to interact with gatekeepers, and then what are you teaching?
So, it's not a one size fit all with gatekeepers. Let me just disposition this thing in Kixie and press go. Okay. A dupe. Okay, so here's the way I think about gatekeepers. There are 2 sort of ways to deal with gatekeepers. One is like the consistent method, right? Consistent is you show up, you call them every day or every other day for a long time, and you get to know their name. So you get to the point where it's like, oh, hey, is this Blake again? Yeah, Blake, I've been calling to reach, Thomas. Is he available or is he in a meeting? I'm guessing he's in a meeting, right? You build a little bit of this rapport, and you get to the point, the consistent method, you get to the point where you can just be very straight up with them, right? So I say about 3rd, 4th, 5th, probably 5th time you talk to the same gatekeeper at the same company for the same contact, I say, hey, you lean forward, you lean into your phone a little bit. You say, hey, Blake, I've called 5 times for Thomas. Every time he seems to be the world's busiest man. I totally get it. Will I ever get through to Thomas on this number? Can you be real with me for a second? And they will generally be honest with you in that moment because you guys have that general rapport, right?
You're friends. Best buds at this point.
Yeah, you're friends. So it's the same idea. It's like there's a general level of trust you have with people that you see every day in life. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, so when I go to pick up my daughter from daycare, I run into the same dad who's walking out when I'm walking in, and we've never talked to each other. But I feel like I know the guy because I've seen him 4 or 5 times. I see him a lot. I see him more than 5 times. But I kind of trust that guy. Like if I were to be out and about and I needed something, I would be like, hey, your kid goes to the daycare. My kid goes to daycare. It's the same idea as when you pop into this person's ear 5 times in a row. And if you're polite, they should have a level of rapport with you to be honest with you. And that's just what we're looking for is the honesty. And if the answer is you're never getting through on this number, like my job is on the line, you got to know that. And so then now that I know that, I can not call that number and I can do something else, right? Which is important.
True.
Other way, there's the consistent method, and the other way is what I call the important method. The important method is when you know it's going to be a gatekeeper, and it helps to know, is to have a very serious, direct tone. What that sounds like is, hey, Blake, it's Kevin calling for Thomas.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Let the gatekeeper go, Oh, was Thomas expecting your call? Kevin with what?
In regards to?
Yeah. In regards to, I'd say, yeah, following up on an email. Can I get Thomas, please? Thanks. Short, quick, sort of dismissive, not rude. Super important not to be rude to gatekeepers. Never be rude to anybody on the phone. If you want good things to happen to you in your life, don't be rude to people on the phone. But a serious and direct tone on the phone communicates things, right? Think about when Thomas's lawyer calls him. Is he calling in saying, "Hey, Blake, I was really hoping to get 10 minutes of Thomas's time. Do you think he's available for a chat?"
Yeah.
Hell no. He's saying, "Hey, Blake, give me Thomas. Thanks."
Maybe you get a thanks. Maybe not.
Yeah, but quick and to the point, because important people don't waste time, right? That's one of the other kind of things to think about is like, if you are really important and you are someone that deserves their time, act important in a way, right? Does that make sense?
And here's the thing. It's not even so much like acting importance. This is one thing I really want to make sure we touched on is the mindset that you're taking into cold calls. Yeah. You're calling them on purpose for a reason. Just remember that. Literally remember that, because armed with that information, the ball's in their court now. They're going to listen. They're going to hang up on you. That's on them. You don't have control over that. But you know that you are trying to help them be better. Period. Yeah. And you have the right to call it. Like their number's out there. They have a phone, and God forbid they picked it up. That's another thing too that kind of irks me sometimes is like, you had enough time. Like you picked it up, and you didn't pick it up expecting a 10-second conversation. So I'm going to take these next 20 seconds and say something. If they want to hang up while you're in the middle of saying, what I like too is the kind of cliffhanger approach of identified area of your business that I think is right for a win. Do you mind if I just take 30 seconds to tell you why I called? Yes, please. I don't want that makes my skin crawl just thinking about like leaving that story untold. Business opportunity.
Exactly.
Okay. Tell me what? What's this in regards to? Oh yeah, I work for Tapcart, with Shopify's preferred e-commerce vendor for mobile apps. So getting back to it, can I tell you about this business opportunity? Yeah.
I like that a lot. And the mindset thing is something that a lot of entry-level callers probably struggle with, because it could be this idea of like, well, who am I to call on this person and ask about this sort of thing? I'm a big fan of
worried about getting something wrong.
Yeah, I did something wrong, or just getting told off on the phone. Particularly with entry-level sellers, they've never really even spoken to executives before. So they have this idea in their head of like, executives are way more important than I am. They're, they make more money than I do. That stuff doesn't matter. Oh, hey, this is Kevin with Uncommon. How you doing today? Yeah, my name's Kevin. I'm with a company called Uncommon Giving. Did I catch you with a quick minute to have a conversation here? Oh, I'll call back another time. Dang. Gosh darn it. This is tough. This is a tough day for the pickups. But we are working.
It'd be like that sometimes. That's the risk we run doing live.
That's right.
I'm ringing.
Absolutely. Gatekeeper asked me if I could hold, which is a good question. Can I hold? Yeah, I can hold. Sure.
You've been kept. Kept from the gate.
So, but an important follow-up to the idea. Yeah, is Miami available? Oh no, actually, Rachel. Book. Thank you. Dang. Let's see if we get through this gatekeeper. We have a live one. Yeah, let's do that. All right, cheers. So she's passing me to the voicemail. Fun fact. All right, so it did hit voicemail, but I don't know about you, but I always ask to be transferred to the voicemail because about 10% of the time, if you just listen to the point where the voicemail starts playing, what it'll do is it'll actually ring their phone and the target will pick up. Right? They'll say, "Oh, they're in a meeting, they're busy, they can't talk right now. Let me just pass you the voicemail." And some phone systems will just ring the phone, and the contact will pick up, and you just have the conversation anyways. So I always ask,
or fun.
Always ask to get past, right? Get past to the voicemail. That's an important little note. Okay. Now that I don't have a conversation going on in my ear, my final point on the mindset is my sales journey changed when I figured out that everyone I was selling to is just a person just like me, right? Like they're just people that put their shoes on one shoe at a time, you know? And if you are a seller who is intimidated talking to VPs or CEOs, you think there's a level of importance to where they can't have a conversation with you, I highly recommend at your own company that you take 15 minutes to have a Zoom coffee chat with your CEO or with an executive. And you get to find out that, you know, their dog poops on the lawn. You know, their car needs an oil change just like yours. Their favorite food is pizza, so is yours. And you're like, oh my gosh, we have so much in common. Executives are people too.
It's a little reminder, but like before I call, just they're probably wearing sweats. Just go on with it.
They're wearing sweats.
It's a silly thing, but like when you picture someone sitting at their office, their desk, their couch, wherever they may be, wearing sweats, I don't know, man. It's just like it's hard to be intimidated by you if you're wearing sweatpants. Like sometimes I go play basketball and there'll be a guy guard me in sweatpants. And I'm sorry, just for anyone out there hooping in sweatpants, if you guard me, I will give you buckets. Like it's just, I have an obligation to the game. It's not even about you or me. It's about respect for the game. So yeah, when someone's wearing sweatpants, there's a whole level of seriousness that goes away. It's hard to be intimidated by that. And also remember too, like what's the worst that happens? You're not going to make a cold call. It's so bad that like they print articles about you in the paper and your business goes under. Not possible. So
no, it's not.
Just lean in.
Leaning in and getting to the point where you can have enough conversations to be confident. That takes, let's be real, it takes some gumption. It takes some will on your side to go out there and make those first, call it 200 first cold calls you ever make. And if that's you and you're listening, just know that I'm with you. I'm in your heart. Trust me. I teach cold calling for a living. I work with I have 5 different clients right now where I'm doing this with their teams. It's not easy, but taking that first step and making those calls, you're going to understand that you're going to learn that it's not as scary as you think it is. So always jump out there with 2 feet first.
There's only upside with cold calling. If you're willing to like not let your feelings get hurt, there's only upside.
That's right. I'm running into an incredible amount of voicemails over here.
I almost want to do it again. I feel like I've been robbed of my moment.
Well, keep dialing, man. How many dials in are you?
I haven't stopped. I'm like those people at the slots tournaments. I'm here. I don't have Kixie. I got to do this.
I am 47 calls in. Been grinding over here. 47 calls, and I think 3 live conversations with actual targets. Almost got that meeting. Hi, I was looking for Natalia. Avila? Do you know if she's available? Thank you. Shoot. They were not available. Taking notes.
We're going to get one. I believe in it.
That's the goal. So let's talk about something else because the phones are slow today. So
Talk
let's
to
talk
somebody,
about
talk to each other.
yeah. So when it comes to like outbound strategy, do you normally have your team reach for the top? Meaning, like, are you guys trying to talk to founders, CEOs,
Hi,
executives?
Terry. This is Blake Hudson calling you from TapCart. I know I caught you out of the blue. Do you have a second to chat? Wonderful, wonderful. I'm doing all right. I'm in LA and it rained the last 2 days, so that's misery for us down here. Traffic ensued. It got crazy. How about you? For sure, for sure. No, I'll keep it brief too. I'm calling in regards to your e-commerce brand. Um, I am noticing a lot of businesses right now, they're gearing up for Black Friday, Cyber Monday. And if you're like any of the other e-commerce brands I'm talking to, you're probably spending a lot on paid social, which probably working for you because you're getting a lot of traffic, probably the most traffic you get all year. And my question, very simply, is what are you doing to retain that traffic in Q1 and beyond? Mhm. Got it. Yeah. Yeah, I for sure have a suggestion. So just painting a picture here so I'm making sure I'm understanding you correctly. Lean team, solopreneur, maybe relying on a few contractors here and there. I'm going to just get right out to it and jump in front of what I think could be an objection, right? I'm calling in regards to helping you build a mobile app. Now, a mobile app for a solopreneur 1, 2, 3 years ago is a daunting endeavor. Hundreds of thousands of dollars, a software team, and even then, you don't guarantee that it works. It just looks pretty. Um, we at Tapcart are able to help brands like yours build and launch a mobile app in 21 days or less. And it's no code, which very simply is drag and drop. It's something that you can manage on your back end, much like you do your Shopify store. In fact, it integrates seamlessly because we're their preferred partner in the mobile app space. So knowing that it's something you can do now, despite the lean team, what would you say would be the most exciting part about having your own mobile app? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. And I'm just looking at your site here. It looks like you're selling, apparel for different skaters. Like I'm seeing ice and hockey, and played a little hockey growing up. Not good. I wasn't good at it, but like I was out there, so that happened. And it probably got a younger demographic then with your clientele. Though that's an interesting one because you probably got the younger folks that are shopping, and then parents are buying. So you're kind of appealing to two different demographics, perhaps. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Mhm. So here's what I would say, right? And just kind of looking at a calendar here, literally, we've got Thanksgiving coming up in a couple of weeks, and then Christmas right around the corner after that. Here's what I would suggest: we have a conversation for 15 minutes. 15 minutes is 1% of your day, right? And I'd like to think we can find 1% between now and let's be real, the Tuesday before Thanksgiving, because I don't think anyone's taking any meetings on Wednesday. So would you be free tomorrow by any chance to have a 15-minute conversation? Okay. And if not, we follow up sometime early next week. Okay. And then lastly here, when you think about having a conversation with someone on our team, what's like one question you would really love to have answered in that conversation? Okay. Right. Yeah. So very simply, just leveling up the brand. Yeah, and I'll tell you what, last thing I'll say, and then we'll wrap here. We're going to be able to approach that from a couple different angles. So I called initially talking about how you can retain those customers hopefully customers with the traffic that you're getting right now. I think there's another part of the conversation that you'd really enjoy where we talk about how do we actually engage with your best and most loyal customers. Because that's the other benefit of a mobile app. You think about trying to reach people now. You got to pay money for emails. You got to pay money for text. A push notification is free, and it's got a 90% open rate. So we'll be able to talk about those sorts of things. Just I'm going to confirm your email for me. Got it. Got it. Okay. Well, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciated chatting with you, and you gave me far more than I ever could have hoped for. So hope you have a great fall day. And I'm going to go slip and slide in the rain out here in LA. You're very welcome. You're welcome. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Oh man, that was such a long conversation. And after all that, he wouldn't close for a meeting, huh?
I'm not saying another word to anybody the rest of the day. I'm done. I'm done. I quit.
Mic drop. But did we get a meeting, or was that not a meeting?
I think it's a meeting. I'm going to send the invite. We'll see what happens on their end. I'd like to, generally speak, or at least I coach the reps, like book it on the meeting or book it on the conversation, like set it, send it, make sure but I will say that's more of a strategy we employ on our inbounds. When it comes to outbound, we just want to like make sure that there's like an agreed upon time, because at least at that point I can send a follow-up email. Hey, this is what we talked about. This is the time you said worked for you. Just making sure that still works. Here's a coffee on me. See you there.
So wait, so was there an agreed upon time and day? I thought that it sort of ended a bit up in the air.
No, she mentioned that tomorrow works. I kind of left that open of like next week, just so as like in case we've got that other thing. But no, put on for tomorrow.
Right. Okay. Interesting. Because I didn't hear a agreed upon time or day. So I don't know if that counts as a meeting. What do you think?
I mean, we'll find, in my opinion, if a rep puts an event and they accept the event, the meeting has been set.
I tend to agree with you. I take a bit more of a direct approach where I'm scheduling a for sure time and day, and then I'm saying things like, hey, do you know of anything that might get in the way of this exact time and day, and like lining that up. But that's a really interesting 100%. Approach.
Kevin, first of all, if I came in here with all the answers, it'd be Blake on calls. It is not Blake on calls. It's not fun. It doesn't work. It's not cool. It's Hopp on calls. So if I can't come on here and learn something from you, we're doing it wrong.
That's right.
Just to reiterate here, we want confirmed date and time. We don't want a general follow-up tomorrow. Works for me, works for you.
That's what the way I teach my teams is it's a day and a time, very, very specifically. And you close for a high level conversation because it's low barrier to like the thought process is not, okay, I'm getting on a demo. Okay, I have to buy something now. Okay, we're going to change everything at my company. Like in general, at the highest level, it's important to remember that sales is change, right? So if sales is change, people don't like changing. And if someone doesn't like changing, I don't want to make them think about things they don't like. The odds of them showing up are going to be much less, right? So I always talk about it as a high level conversation. I get to know you, and of course, all of the things that are important come up.
Hey, is this Tyler?
Let's go.
Hey, Tyler. Yeah, I'll keep it very brief. My name is Blake Hudson. I'm calling you from TapCart. Can I take like 30 seconds to tell you why I called? Cool. Very simply, saw you have an e-commerce store and wanted to know, have you thought about how you're going to retain all your Q4 traffic in Q1 and beyond? For sure. That's not a problem. What's a good time to call back? Okay, we'll do. We'll make that happen. I hope you have a great rest of your shift, and we'll talk soon. No problem. 2 in a row. That's how that works. Also, so I think it's when you're least expecting someone to pick up, they pick up. And when you don't know how to pronounce their name, they are going to pick up. Guaranteed.
Yeah.
And not even if the name's hard. Just like if you feel uncomfortable about pronouncing their name, they are going to pick up the phone.
Oh, yeah.
So those are 2 times.
That for sure is one of the rules. One of the other rules that is interesting, and tell me if you haven't experienced this, is people that you've called before that pick up the phone, they pick up the phone again. So like which happens to everybody, is you accidentally, someone slips through the cracks and ends up in your cold list that you've already talked to, like you're going to connect with that person again, and it's going to be awkward. And that's actually a really interesting piece of like human nature that I've discovered, which is like people that pick up the phone again and again and again, right? So a bit of the game that we play with outbound sales and cold calling is just trying to identify the people that will do business via phone and will pick up the phone. And once you identify those people, you can have a pickup rate that's pretty gnarly. Like, every time you call, just about, they will pick up the phone. But I wish you could identify that just by, putting a bunch of numbers into some system. But I haven't identified anything that can tell you who's going to pick up the phone or not.
Kixie, they call as many human beings as possible at one time. And that
so Kixie is a huge piece of the pie, right? But the pie also involves the process of who we're going to put in the list, and then what kind of numbers you put in the list, and then you got to use the technology to make sure you can reach out to multiple people at once. Like that's really critical. What if there was a way to tell when people have their phone in their hand, and then you could call their phone when it's in their hand? Wouldn't that be sick? Think about that.
That would be creepy.
Actually, I'm talking about it live on a LinkedIn Live right now, but this is a product idea I had. What if you could say, "Oh, hey, I was looking for Millie. Do you know if Millie's available?" Oh, you're the new Millie. Okay, what's your name? Erica. Awesome. My name's Kevin. I'm with a company called Uncommon Giving. Did I catch you at the minute to have a conversation? Okay, well, I will make it very quick, Erica. So I have Millie down. She was involved in HR, so I assume you're in people leadership as well, HR? Perfect. So my company, Uncommon Giving, we work with people leaders like yourself that are trying to build a value-driven employee experience by enabling their staff to give back to nonprofits in their community. So I guess a question for you, Erica. Would you say you're satisfied with how much of your staff participates when you guys do have giving back initiatives? Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And what we find is it is important to have like a nonprofit entity, a giving back sort of initiative. One of the things that I've been doing here is reaching out to folks like yourself and setting up these kind of high level get to know you conversations to learn a bit more about how your company is thinking about giving back in 2023. And the reason being, my company, Uncommon Giving, we're a platform that makes this super easy. And what it really does is enables each individual employee to give both time or money to the nonprofit causes that they care about. So think about individualized giving at scale, the idea that you're empowering every employee. Would you be open to just a high level discussion about something like that, maybe next week? Okay. Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have a website, uncommongiving.com. You can go there anytime. I can also email you a link to the website so it's like readily available in front of you. Would that help you? Okay, awesome. And do you have like a weekly standing conversation with your leadership where you could have this? Is that going to happen like this week, or is that going to happen when you get back? I'm just gauging when I need to follow up with you. Okay. Okay. Awesome. Okay. Well, I'll follow up with you the week of the 21st and we'll see what happens. But look out for an email from me, okay? All right. Cheers. Oh, dang. Had a live one.
It was close.
Had a live one. Can you believe it? Shoot. Well, Blake, we had a live one on there. She said, I'm new, right? She said, I'm new. And when she said I'm new, I kind of went the idea of, okay, I'm going to enable you to know about this so that you can talk to your manager about it. But she didn't want to make a splash right away. I could tell that pushing for a meeting was going to kind of break that relationship immediately. She also told me she's out of office next week. So she can't meet next week, can't do anything. And it was kind of hard for her to think past that. I could tell like her tone changed. So what we're going to do is we're going to follow up. Fat Stacks in the circle backs, baby. This is one of the rules of outbound calling. If you follow up, it's a great way to do it. So, Blake, we have reached the end of our time here. Thank you so much for coming on Hop on Calls today. I really do appreciate it. How can people follow you, connect with you? What are your thoughts?
I mean, LinkedIn, you see me walking down the street, you see me crossing some dude up on a basketball court while he's wearing sweatpants, like any one of those instances. It's going to work.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, Blake, thank you so much for coming on today. I appreciate it, man. Let's keep in touch.
Yeah, let's never do this again, though. Maybe, possibly never. I'm down. I mean, I'm down. I don't want